remember when you were a kid and your parents were convinced that your generation would be the end of us all? I remember those days. Well, guess what? Adults have believed this for hundreds of years, absolutely convinced that young people would be the end of us all. It hasn't happened yet. That's because it isn't true, and never has been true, and I don't believe it. The reason I don't believe it is because I've met several motivated high school kids over the years that have had thoughts and ideas in their heads that I never would have thought of myself. Really impressive young people. Instead of laying fear and doubt on the heads of our kids, maybe we should support them. We should equip them to grow and use their unique talents for good in this world. I've had many ideas bounce around in my head about working with high school kids to encourage those who might have an entrepreneurial spirit. That's where my next guest comes in. Jose works with kids beginning in middle school and all through high school to give them useful tools to compete in life after school. And he's sending them out into the working world to gain real-world experience from local employers. Now that's something I can get behind. I'm going to ask Jose to explain how this new program works and how it benefits everybody. Want to see how it goes?
Come along for the ride in Ken's Think Tank. Ken's Think Tank is made possible by the following sponsors. 505 Cycles proudly serves all types of riders, including new and veteran riders, road and mountain bike aficionados, recreation and transportation cyclists. The 505 community is all about fun and the love of all things bikes.
So, how do you say your last name? How do you pronounce it?
I get that a lot. It's Villareal. Villa. Yeah, break it into two names, if you will. Villareal.
Right on.
Yeah, so
Okay.
It means actually the royal village.
Really?
Yeah, the royal village or royal estate, when translated.
Right on.
Yeah, pretty cool. So it originated in Spain, so that's where my family is from.
Yeah?
Yep, got roots there. And then actually my wife is first generation. She moved over on a work visa
Really?
about 8 years ago.
From Spain?
From Spain.
Oh, nice.
Yep, she was just trying to explore the area, and really she liked to ski, so she pointed on the map, I want to go there next to all those ski resorts to go learn more English, and then we met and became friends. The rest is history, man. We're on our fourth kid. We've got 4 boys.
Your wife is a strong woman wrangling all these boys in her life.
Yeah, exactly. It's only going to strengthen her throughout life, and who knows, you know, I hear about the younger girls trying to manage their drama, and people say that they're like, oh, you're lucky with all boys. So.
in a way, but yeah.
Yeah, in a way, yeah. I had brothers growing up, so that's all I know, you know. But my poor wife, it was her and her sister. She's like, where's my girl? But no, she loves it here. She actually is an educational diag, so she was teaching Spanish. For quite some time, and then she went ahead and took that opportunity and that's what she did in Spain was psychology.
Oh wow.
Yeah, she got her master's in psychology, and she's done that in Spain, the educational psychologist or diag work.
Right.
So it's great. We both work at the district now, and we've got great benefits. You know, we've got the summers where we go to Spain.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now you're from Farmington, right?
I am, yeah. Born and raised here.
Okay.
I was the only one that was born here. My rest of my family is from Colorado.
Yeah.
So on the other side of Wolf Creek, we were just talking about it. Wolf Creek Pass, there's what they call the valley, and that's Monte Vista, Alamosa area.
Right.
My dad's from Antonito, my mom's from Monte Vista.
Cool.
And both my older brothers were born there. And then as soon as there were more opportunities for my dad, he uprooted us and brought us here to Farmington, and he worked at the power plant for many years.
Okay.
Yeah, so then basically born and raised, went to elementary at Apache Elementary, and then moved over kind of a little bit more towards the 20th/Butler area, and went to Tibbetts, the old Tibbetts.
Right.
And graduated FHS in '99.
Nice.
Yeah, so definitely a hometown kid. Moved away, you know, just like everybody else in high school. They wanna explore and kind of spread their wings. So I did that. I moved up to north of Denver Fort Collins, Colorado,
Okay.
and my brother was living up there, my oldest, and we were really tight. So, just went and tried to work. Really, I didn't go there for higher education experience at all. So, it's funny. So I'm gonna just go into the story here of how I got here. So, ultimately, I was living there for about 3.5, 4 years, and during that stint, I was doing a lot of delivery jobs. One of them was, not a lot, but just a couple.
Yeah.
One of them was a courier service, and I thought it was quite interesting on how their business worked, how their operations worked, and I knew that there was a niche that could be filled here in Farmington, New Mexico with that courier service.
Okay.
So my dad was semi-retired, so I called him one day and I said, hey, there's this opportunity. This is what I do. I know there are all these banks there. I know there are all these companies that need delivery services at an expedited and very quality style of service.
Right.
So he went ahead and started from the ground up and just started getting a couple of accounts.
Okay.
And at that time I moved back and I helped him grow it. I became basically his sidekick, and we were partners in crime, and we grew that thing. And eventually I bought it from him a couple years later.
Yeah.
And we ended up growing pretty big, not huge, but a few employees. I actually moved my business into the incubator center at San Juan College after I bought it, and we grew it to a couple more fleet vehicles, a few more employees.
Yeah.
And sure enough, I was starting to experience burnout because, for one, I didn't create the exact system that would have been self-sufficient.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a growing pain, definitely, but a learning lesson. So I built it that way towards the end, where it was self-sustaining. You didn't have to be the owner/operator. You could have been the owner and just been that rather than, and so I hired a manager, and at the end of it, I was changing my careers because my wife, finally met her and we started having kids, and it was like, I can't do that one the whole time. So went back to school, got my bachelor's degree in the meantime, sold the business for a profit, and it just kind of worked out itself. I didn't promote it heavily or anything like that. We found the perfect buyers. They're local friends, actually high school friends, and sure enough, it's running. It's Zia Courier Service, and it's running really, really great right now. But that's when I wanted to explore getting into education, because I saw, my wife, the benefits, but also just wanting to work with the youth and give back and give them an opportunity to learn about careers, for example, or just teach them my business background.
Right.
So I wanted to teach. I wanted to be a coach when I was younger too. I just never had that pathway designed for myself. I didn't set it up for success because I didn't know. Nobody really told me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's funny. That's how we kind of most people. You go off. You don't really know what you want to do, and so you go off and you start doing some things and all this kind of stuff. And it isn't till later that you finally figure it out. You got experience under your belt. You've done a bunch of stuff, and you're like, dude, this is the thing. And then you realize all the things that you needed to do before you do that thing, and sometimes you have to backtrack. And if you really want to do it, you have to backtrack and start doing all that stuff.
It's exactly right. So
you're in a system now that's trying to kind of help that process along, right?
That is exactly right. It brings us to present day. So ultimately, I did the business counselor stint for about a year, but then this opportunity as the workforce community liaison came about with our Farmington Municipal School District.
Right.
And I thought, what a perfect fit. I basically get to help students, introduce them or transition them into the workforce. I have a lot of experience in the workforce. Of course, my business background helps me.
Yeah. So
it was a perfect match on paper, I thought. So it was like I get to get in the schools and help the youth. It's what I've always wanted. And guess what? This is the most just thankful and incredible opportunities. I love the work that I'm doing. It's tremendous. And ultimately, like I mentioned, kind of continuing the story, and then I'll finish with that. But I got my master's degree in business, filled that checkbox, if you will, and sure enough, was given the opportunity to develop this program. It's called Work-Based Learning, from the ground up. I was, first of all, thought of, obviously, before I showed up, because they had to create the job. So our district leaders had planned this for a couple of years.
Okay.
So they were the visionaries of this work-based learning program. And ultimately, they said, here's the vision. Now you take off with it and see what you can do. Let's see what you can build. And they brought in somebody from outside of the school district for many reasons. I think one of them was obviously the entrepreneurship and business background that I've had success at building a business and
Right.
having that system in place.
Right.
But also they wanted somebody to think and be in the employer's shoes as far as understanding what the benefit is for them.
Right.
So essentially what it is it's an internship program, but it's a lot more than internships. On the back end where the business side is they basically get to test the talent. They get to basically have a semester-long opportunity with a young student that is very motivated to come into their workplace to learn about their career. So it's not like your normal job at your fast food restaurant, for example.
Right.
Not that that's wrong, but
No.
it's a more high-level opportunity and experience. So Ken, that growing up and learning from academics versus learning hands-on, where did you learn best?
So my college experience has come in just bits and pieces scattered around. I have no degree whatsoever. I don't have a degree of in anything. Where I learn absolutely everything that I know how to do is on my own terms and in my own way and by doing.
Exactly.
Doing it, putting my hands on it and doing it.
That is exactly why this exists.
Right.
So we go back to the story of, man, I spent a lot of years exploring out there and not knowing, not having any direction. We set those students up basically with career exploration. So just kind of getting their feet wet and kind of getting an understanding of what's out there and giving them an opportunity for example, if they want to go into the construction or trades area, they want to go into the engineering pathway or become an attorney, become a banker, financial pathway. Health science is huge because that's one of the bigger industries, but also the bigger interests of our students. When we survey them, I would say about 60% of our student population want to become something in the medical field.
Okay.
So
it's a huge field.
It is huge, and it's high-paying jobs.
Right.
So we try to match them up with high-value jobs, which are ultimately high wage and also high demand or high growth. So that's the definition of high value. So ultimately, I came in and was able to create an infrastructure for this internship program, and I treated it like a business. I treated it like, okay, I need to grow this thing in a systematic way where it can it can work on its own.
Right.
So that's what I did. I built basically an infrastructure that has a sequence from 8th grade to 12th grade.
Okay.
And then also, and this is not on my own, I was a co-developer, and I also had a lot of help with, ideas and brainstorming and thought partners.
Right.
But ultimately, the sequence from 8th to 12th grade, ending with the capstone at junior, senior level with that internship. And then also there's a semester-long process. So the sequence and the process are the infrastructure of the program. So ultimately, coming from the student side of it, in 8th grade, they get to take what's called career exploration. And they take it as an elective class. And what it does is it gives them an opportunity to take a shotgun approach to exploring all kinds of different careers. They do interest inventory surveys, learn about their aptitudes, their personality, what they like to do at the job, or what they might be good at it based on their personality test.
Okay.
And then they get to look at a bunch of different careers, and they treat the class over at one of our middle schools as like a business. And it's really cool what this teacher's doing. She ultimately assigns them roles like president or secretary, and it's student led. And once this class kind of develops into its own kind of thing, towards the end, they narrow their career focus, and they do what's called a next step plan. And they do that as a final for that capstone of that 8th grade class moving into high school career.
Right.
So in 9th grade, before they go into 9th grade, and this isn't every single student, but this is those students that are trying to go in this pathway, in this career and technical education pathway. They get with their counselors and they say, okay, this is the field I'm interested in, health science, for example. So they can sign up for electives in career and technology, or career and technical education, I apologize, for health science or health occupations. This is the sequence. 8th grade, they take career exploration. 9th and 10th grade, they take health occupations 1 and 2 as a career technical class, learning about different occupations in health science. And then in 11th grade, they take possibly or potentially an AP class or a dual credit class with San Juan College, learning about anatomy and other areas of health science.
Right.
And then as soon as they get all of that experience in the classroom, because some of it's project-based learning, they get to ultimately take our internship at junior or senior level, capstoning with that hands-on experience, because that's where they actually put it all together.
Yeah.
What they're learning in the academic arena.
That's where things start to make sense.
Exactly.
It's not a concept anymore.
Yeah, it's metacognition. So it's basically trying to understand it. Like, okay, yeah, I now get to shadow this doctor or this nurse and really understand not only the actual, role of the person, but all of the, like you're talking about, the mathematics and problem solving that they learn in school.
Right.
They get to see it applied.
Right.
So it's an amazing opportunity to either expedite the process for the students to either say, that's what I really want to do now. I want to learn about that career, so I'm going to go to college. I'm going to invest in my college. Like you and I didn't get to experience. They get to say, you know what? I'm going to do that. And they really put their head, that it directs them towards that career, and it motivates them.
Right.
Incredibly, not only in that pathway, but also their other grades are affected. The actual statistic early on in the nation is CTE, career and technical education, and work-based learning programs like the one we created.
Right.
Students graduate at a 10% higher rate than the nation's average.
Yeah.
So like 85, I believe, is the average for graduation rate.
Okay.
Whereas 95% of those students that are in those programs graduate. So it's proven that it's a high motivator, and also it's for anybody. So it's for those students that are either highly academic, focused.
Right.
And it's also for the ones that are not that great at academics. Again, we have different pathways that provide that opportunity, because in some industries you don't need a higher education degree.
Right.
You may just need a certificate, or you can jump right in that workforce and earn your way through the ranks.
Right.
We actually created a boot camp at the beginning of the semester. So this is the process. What it is ultimately we go in at the very beginning of the semester and we teach them these soft skills. We build a resume with them in the first week. We teach them about work ethic, time management, communication skills, verbal and nonverbal. And then on the second week, we teach them interview skills. And this is what sets our program apart from the rest of the state and the rest of the country, is that our interns actually interview for that placement.
Right. So
And,
the idea here is getting them real world experience.
Yes.
And so that piece of the puzzle shouldn't be left out, because that is real world experience. You don't just get experience in a job in one of these internship positions and think, awesome, now I can do that job and expect to get one. You have to go through the process of convincing them that hey, you need to hire me. I'm the
Exactly.
person. I can do this job. They may or may not believe you. So send them through that real world experience of going through the interview and
You get
and
the
what
point.
that looks like.
You get the whole point of it is it starts from day one that they
Yeah.
are getting treated like ultimately they're still in high school. One of our students said, this class is so amazing. They didn't even get to experience the internship yet.
Yeah.
But they said, this class is so amazing. I get to basically train or act like an adult, but I'm still a kid.
Right.
They're like, I get the
Yeah.
adult experience. This is the only class I tell my parents about. One student told me.
Right.
It's the type of program that our country is embracing with open arms. They're looking at strategies on how do we get these students, how do we fill that opportunity and skills gap, because we know that if we don't do that, then
Right.
we're going to have a really scarce workforce.
Right.
And so it's a humongous opportunity to serve our youth and our community, and that's why I do it. I do it for the infinite game, because it's going to help so many different people on so many levels.
Yeah.
It'll help families, help again direct a student, a young mind, into an opportunity that is just going to hopefully build a family here and basically provide some positive economic impact overall.
Right.
So
Well, awesome, man.
yeah,
Well, thanks for going on the ride with me.
yeah, man, I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
We've been talking and chatting, but we haven't met face to face in well over a year.
It has.
I think the last time I saw you face to face was up at the college. And that's
Yeah, it's been a while. It has been, but
right on, man.
all right. Thanks, Ken. Appreciate it, man.